What's up, guys? This is Dev and the Bear.
Ooh.
We're going to be talking about UFC 281. It was a really, really good card. So let us know what you thought about the card. Do you think it's card of the year, maybe? It was really good. It was very exciting. A lot of finishes. Even in the fights that weren't finishes were still exciting. I would argue that some of the fights that went later were more exciting than the first round finishes that we did see.
Yep.
Just because we got to see more fight. In a lot of fights, we had a lot of first round finishes, like Moicano submitting Riddell. We had a lot of knockouts, like Span and knocking out Dominic Reyes, which I think that one went exactly how we said. Dominic went in there and did exactly what he always does, and he got caught for it.
Yeah.
It's just what we saw coming, and when you know what you're looking at, it's kind of easy to call some of this stuff. Sometimes it really takes you through a loop, like Hooker and Puelles. That one, I think, like I said, we were saying before, I didn't want to say Dan Hooker's washed up. I know a lot of people were saying that, and I think he proved he's not. But I did think he had an issue with the grappling, but he was pretty ahead with this one, and he was able to stop any kind of locking up on his leg from Puelles. So that was really good to see. It was good to see Dan Hooker back on top of the game.
Yeah, it was what's it called? The defense he had with getting his leg out of there was really impressive. We haven't seen, because like last time we saw Dan Hooker, he got taken down immediately. Well, not the last time, but last time we saw him at lightweight, we saw him get taken down and then put in a Kimura, so people really weren't able to see his ground game or his defense on the ground. Claudio Puelles, if he gets a limb, he's gonna take it home with him.
Yeah.
We seen him do it to we saw him do it to Clay Guida and damn near tore his knee off. But Dan Hooker showed composure. One of the things that he said post fight after beating Puelles was he said that a hurt fighter is a dangerous fighter. I knew I had to stay composed and just pick my shots from the outside and just eventually just wade the waters and just let him quit, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, man, it was kind of frustrating to watch though, just because it's like Puelles just had no answer. Like he made it very obvious what he wanted his game plan to be. It was like watching a Ryan Hall fight. Ryan Hall is fun to watch. He is fun to watch. But when he gets a submission, he's fun to watch. But if it's not him getting a submission, it's like, okay, can this guy just knock him out already?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison, because Ryan Hall will do those Imanari rolls nonstop, and it's like it's not working.
Yeah,
you gotta find something else. And yeah, you see Claudio shooting for takedowns, like trying to ankle grab and stuff like that, and it's not working.
Yeah,
Dan's not letting you do those things. He's basically treating you like a little kid in the schoolyard this point.
It was bad, dude, because it was just frustrating to watch. I specifically was told to say Claudio Puelles is a pussy for the way he fought. I don't agree with. I'm not gonna call another fighter a pussy. It wasn't me, but it was just frustrating because it's like, okay, like you got to do something else, man. Like you're like Dan Hooker. He reads range. He reads the range very well. He can judge his distance. So when you're going against a taller fighter and he's able to tell when you're shooting for an ankle or something, I think he almost did. I think he got really close to getting Imanari roll once, but like after that, it was like nonstop, same thing, But good to see Dan Hooker back in the win column. I love Dan Hooker. I think he's a hilarious dude. He bites on the mouthpiece and throws down. He's a great fighter. I think this says right now where he stands is that when it comes to up and coming fighters, he's still better than them. But we don't know where he stands when it comes to these top fighters.
Yeah, I think for the time being, it puts him in a kind of a gatekeeper status.
Yeah.
With the potential to still get back in to the mix as far as like title contention is, because I think he still could. He is going to struggle against some of those guys, but
yeah,
I think he could still do it. I don't know if anything with him and like Makhachev would be good right now, but
no.
If he beats Chandler,
yeah,
who we'll talk about in a little bit, maybe.
He he had said after his post fight was like, hey, I want the best man in Perth, because they're going to Perth, Australia, and Ronaldo Moicano said he's like, okay, I'll fight him in Brazil, and they told that to Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker was like, that's completely defeats the purpose of what I said.
Yeah,
he's like, I said opposite. I want you in Perth, and
I love Moicano, but one, he said the best man. That's not you. 2, he said Perth. That's
Yeah.
not you.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully they can. That would be a fun fight, though. I'm hoping they can shape that up and make it happen in Perth. I understand a lot of these Brazilian fighters really want to go back to Brazil. It's been a while, but yeah, man. So on to the next fight. It was a very a saddening loss
Yeah.
for Frankie Edgar.
Frank Edgar got knocked out with another knee.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying this one was worse than the other one, and I don't think so.
No, just because the last one, I don't think it was, just because the way he fell in the first one was way worse. But you know, he fell, instead of falling forward from a flying knee, he fell backward. I do think that the Corsanagin was much more brutal.
It was a flying knee,
Yeah.
as opposed to a standing knee. It was
Yeah.
there's a lot more behind it.
But watching this fight, though, man, I mean, hats off to Chris El Guapo Gutierrez. Like, he went in there, he saw the read. I mean, he knew exactly what he had to do, and he
Yeah.
landed that shit quick. But it was I don't know, man. It was just, you saw Frankie Edgar there, and it's crazy to say that Frankie Edgar was a step behind on everything. You know,
Yeah.
he looked stiff, he looked out of it. He didn't look like Frankie Edgar, and that's what happened. We saw what happened. I mean, you know, he got knocked out once by just bobbing up and down with no more so, you know, with vertical movements, no, not really horizontal ones that we know him for. And he didn't change anything, and then he got knocked out for it. It sucks to see him go out like that. But I hope he does stay retired, though. I'm a huge Frankie Edgar fan. I'll always be a Frankie Edgar fan. But I want him to stay retired, and I think he plans on staying retired, and I think he should, just for his health. You know, I mean, he talked about how being a fighter like has been very selfish of him, and he needs to start putting his family first. And I hope he decides to do that. But Chris Gutierrez, man, I mean, not take anything away from him. I think it's hard whenever you beat a legend like Frankie Edgar, and people, it overshadows this devastating knockout you just got. You know.
Yeah. I want to say yes, but we remember Sandhagen's very well. So I think once the buzz about the retirement and it being Frank Edgar dies out, all people are going to remember is that being a highlight reel for Chris.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, it was I don't know, it just reminded me a lot of Cub Swanson in his last fight. You know, it's just like the changing gears. You know, the new generation's coming in. A lot of these older fighters are weaning out very, very fast. So, but yeah, man. So on to my favorite fight of the night, and that says a lot because this card was great. Was Dustin Poirier defeating Michael Chandler by rear naked choke in the third round, which you said it yourself. You wanted to see some mat time from Dustin Poirier.
I did, but not in that way. Man, that was a really good fight. It was pretty back and forth. Both guys got hurt with plenty of shots, but I think obviously Dustin landed the more devastating shots. Opened up Mike in a bunch of different spots on his face. But yeah, whenever Chandler initiated I can't remember if he shot in for a takedown or if it was a slam. He picked him up and slammed him.
Yeah.
And then got his back. But because Chandler was so exhausted, I think he got a little sloppy and ended up falling over and losing position. And then Poirier just took over from there.
Yeah.
And I think obviously Poirier was the fresher person. And he was able to keep position because once he got that choke in, it was really tight.
Dude, it was tough, man. Like, I saw that choke go in, but I mean, before we talk about the choke, though, that first round was crazy. Like, Michael Chandler swinging for the fences like he always does. You see Dustin backing up the whole time, and then he drops him out of nowhere in I think the last few, minute or so in the first round. And it's like, oh shit. And then so it's just big shifting gears. Chandler survived, and that second round was all Chandler. You saw him blow his nose on him. That was disgusting.
Oh, dude. Man, dude. There was a lot. Did you see the blood that spewed out of his... Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, spewed out of his nose.
When he was on top of Dustin?
Yeah, all over his chin.
It's freaking disgusting.
I mean, it was so nasty. He blew his nose on him. He fish hooked him. Dude, I told Zach, right? I texted him. I was like, seeing Michael Chandler fight dirty is like finding out Santa Claus isn't real. Like, it's just heartbreaking. I'm like, what the hell's going on, man?
That being said, though, if you look at that choke, when Michael Chandler's left arm is holding Dustin's left arm, or his right arm, I'm blanking on which one, but so you see Dustin's hand go over Chandler's left hand, and I'm pretty sure he reached for his hand, but he missed his hand and he only got glove, and he ripped away Chandler's hand using it just by his glove. That's how he got the choke.
It's a real convenient accident, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I mean, what's it called? I don't know, Denmark, we all need to start fucking doing something about this shit, man.
It was real fast.
Yeah.
It was real fast.
Well,
So
just like,
it's hard because like I didn't see it the first time I watched it either.
yeah, the fish hooking was just like, come on, man.
That that
But
was
like,
something
I
else.
feel like someone blew like spewing your fucking bodily fluids on somebody though.
Freaking
That should
he
be an
Brad Pitted
automatic.
him.
That dude, that should be a, what would you say?
He got Tyler Durden.
Oh
Brad
man,
Pitt him.
fucking dude, he should like really like, I don't know. I feel like they should stand them up, be like, let's clean this fucking guy off real quick. Y'all going back to the feet. You lose all position. That is absolutely disgusting. Like the fact that that's not against the rules. I don't know if there's a rule in it for somewhere. I would have to look into it. I'm sure there's not because they probably would have said something about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Dustin Poirier got the win. He showed he's the bigger dog, which is exactly what you said last week whenever we talked about this, is that Dustin Poirier is an absolute dog in the cage. I don't know what to do with him next. My opinion, I think he should fight Beneil Dariush for the number one contendership because there is a new champ. But
Yeah.
I didn't. The reason why I didn't want Dustin to win this fight, I want Dustin to win every fight he's in, but it's just like we've seen Dustin fight a Dagestani, and I don't think his fight against, if he were to fight Islam, is going to be any different than what we've already seen.
I don't know. I think Islam's a little bit more willing to stand with guys. Rightfully so. But I still don't think he outstrikes Dustin.
Right.
So that gives Dustin more time to kind of work his angle on the feet.
Yeah.
But eventually it does go to the ground, I think.
Yeah. Get Bo Nickel and fucking Jordan Burroughs in there, man. Just turn wrestling for a couple months. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
So work on some boxing fundamentals and just do that. Because if those guys can't take you down, I don't think Islam is able to. But yeah, man. Hopefully they'll be back soon. I want to see Michael Chandler fight soon, like really, really soon. So
yeah, I don't think we see that.
No, we don't.
For a while.
Or I want to see Dustin. I don't want to see Dustin Poirier take another year off for sure. I mean, with the lightweight title picture though, we have Islam fighting Alexander Volkanovski in February. I think February 11th.
Is it official or is it still
official.
just set? Okay.
It's official, yeah. So they just do not want Beneil to fight for that title, man.
Yeah, that poor guy.
And I think apparently he's people want Dustin versus Beneil for the number one contendership.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Because one, if the UFC doesn't want it to be Beneil, that's a good way to go for it.
Yeah.
Two, if Dustin's legitimately going to try to go for it again, that's the best way to do it. Take out Beneil because he's the only other one you haven't fought, and he's the only other one who deserves it.
Yeah, and so I'm for it.
Other than Charlie Olives.
I would really, yeah. I mean, Charlie Olives, people talk about him fighting Beneil also, but what's it called? I would another matchup that I think here getting tossed around a lot is because Rafael Fiziev keeps calling out Justin Gaethje, and Gaethje keeps turning. Gaethje doesn't want it. He keeps turning on the fight. He's like,
I don't blame him.
And so he's like, nah, man, I want to fight, for the title. And it's like, your last fight was for the title and you lost it. You gotta prove while you're in there, man. I understand he's a very exciting fighter. He is good, but it's like the way that you lost that title fight, man, you got to have a fight to show that you're still on the top. You can't just hold your position. This isn't boxing. You can't just fight once a year and be like, yeah, see, this is why I'm here. Unless you're Dustin Poirier doing what you did to Michael Chandler. So, I mean, that solidifies that he's a top contender.
And it's the same thing with Khabib. Khabib was fighting like once or twice a year at most.
Yeah.
But every time he went in there, he put guys to sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he just beat the shit out of people. So, yeah, man. Hats off to Dustin Poirier though. Super excited about that. We need to re up on some hot sauce too.
Yeah, I've been out for a while.
Yeah, I want to try the KO edition.
Yeah, he's got 3.
Yeah, he's got the championship edition, and then he's got the KO edition and the original hot sauce.
Better be spicy.
I think it is. So we'll have to order some and find out. Maybe do a review page on it. Let us know what you think or not. And then we have Weili Zhang becoming a 2-time strawweight champion. That was, I mean, I thought it was an exciting fight. I'm sure everybody will be like, it was super one-sided, which it kind of was. You knew that Zhang was ahead going into this fight. You knew that she was the better fighter. What's it called? With the stand up and all, like, Zhang was obviously better on the feet. Whenever the takedowns started ensuing and the grappling what took place, the scrambling was a lot of fun though. Whenever she would go for Carla Esparza shoot for a takedown, Zhang would scramble and she showed off that Triple C style wrestling. It looked really, really good. She was ready for every aspect of that. And then she would do something and then Carla would have a reaction to that. And then eventually, like, it's crazy because like in the first round, Jane gets the the reverse crucifix,
Yeah.
and then in the second round she gets it again, but now it's secure, now it's in, and she's not going anywhere, you know. So yeah, she won by rear naked choke, which is from a different angle too. We're not used to it at
Yeah,
all.
it was pretty interesting. She had her arm trapped,
Yeah,
and that was about it. She didn't have her body in the body lock at all. She didn't have her hooks in. She only had that arm trapped, and then she had Esparza's shoulders.
yeah.
I don't want to say she had her back.
Yeah, she just had her arm tied up with her legs and then just went for it. And I mean, that was really the fight. You know, it was a good. I'm happy for Zhang. I feel bad for Carla Esparza because she's never. I mean, her this title reign was never legitimized. You
Yeah,
know, and I mean, you know, in my opinion, you're never really a champion until you get to defend the belt, and she didn't defend the belt. You know, and so it's like not to knock her at all, but it just kind of doesn't do much for your reign as a champion. You know.
yeah, and most likely we'll see a rematch with her and Rose
I don't get why
at some
though.
point.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
I
that
get
last fight was
why.
so bad,
Yeah.
and they need to
Oh,
have a trilogy.
you're talking about. I thought you meant Zhang and Rose.
Oh no!
Which
Carla and Rose.
that fight fucking sucked. They did a trilogy right away. They did a second fight right away because now you completely illegitimize who if she became champion again, and that's what's gonna happen. Is she's lost to Rose twice, who's still an active fighter. You know, because Zhang's lost to her twice already.
I'm talking
So
about Esparza.
yeah, I'm going on about Esparza. I mean about Zhang.
Yeah,
But
no.
even with I don't know, man, it's a big clusterfuck if you think about it. You know, look at Carlos
It's because of all
Esparza.
these rematches. Jacek, who's not even there anymore,
Yeah,
she had rematches with all of them.
yeah.
Like
You know.
it's insane.
So, but yeah, Esparza. I mean, maybe she'll fight Rose again. I don't really know how to capitalize on that kind of fight because Rose has already lost to her twice. You know, and which is why I'm saying like if she beats Carla, then it's like okay, you know, like where do we go from here?
I think in the company's mind that fight is Rose would be 0-1, and then Carla is 1-0.
Yeah,
I think they want that fight to just
act
be
like it never
gone.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what organization it was, man, but there's been one fight that was like super boring, and then the CEO of that promotion was like, I think he like, what did he do? He like disqualified the fighters, or he got to the commission, was like, cancel the
Nice.
fight now. He's like, they're not fighting. I'm not doing this. I think he
That
even
sounds familiar.
yeah. I have to look more into it to give you the straight facts. But on to the main event, we had Alex Powhatan Pahea,
Repeating history.
yeah, for the second time, knocking out
Third time
Israel.
if you just beating him.
A third time beating him, yeah. Knocking out Israel Adesanya. In this fight, I was kind of split, you know, with either of these guys becoming champ. Whenever you have a champion for a long time, you kind of want to see a new face.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if Izzy won. His fights haven't been good. He hasn't looked hungry for it anymore. He hasn't looked genuinely dominant in a while. So I wanted to see that, and he was doing well in this fight. I think it was definitely more exciting than a lot of his other fights.
Right.
But I wanted him to lose this fight because I want him to go back to being as good as he is.
Stylebender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's a great counter striker, but he lost the touch on how to push people into making mistakes. Now he waits for them to make them, and it's just not. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants, as far as the viewers, nobody wants to watch that. So
I think Michael Chandler had the best point of view on it one time. He said, I get defending the belt and being a champion, but you also got to, you know, people want to take your belt. They have to go out there and take it. But also at some point you have to prove why you're the champion. You know?
yeah,
I mean, Anderson Silva and GSP are always going to be the blueprint to what a champion should be like whenever you fight them. You know, I understand Anderson had 2 bad title fights with Talis Latis and Damian Maia, but look at the rest of his fights. You know, I mean, maybe the Chael Sonnen fight too, but look at the rest of his fights. Look what he did to those guys. You know, look what GSP did to those guys, to his opponents. Yeah. He would beat them in exactly what they were good at.
I would say GSP over Anderson because of that. GSP beat them everywhere the fight went.
Right.
And the only times he was ever in a little bit of trouble was the head kick round by Carlos Condit and a couple of rounds against Johnny Hendricks.
Second and fourth specifically.
He never had any real issues completely dominating his opponent other than those few rounds. And that's in the span of freaking years and years and rounds, minutes and minutes of fighting. He only had a few minutes where he looked bad.
Yeah.
And Israel Adesanya is over there and crying on people's shoulder while they're punching his legs. I get it, it's a joke, but you know, we our $80 isn't a joke.
Yeah.
And that's just for pay-per-views. Think about how expensive some of those tickets are, man.
Like, to complain that, you know, I'm just bored and, you know, and these guys are below me, this and that, and you're gonna do all these things to them when you get in there, and you have these fucking entrances and stuff like that, and you go out there and you just dance around for 25 minutes. I get you're a counter striker, man, but it's like you have most advantages over every fighter you walk into the cage with.
And you go look at his other fights, and he made them make mistakes. That's the difference. He's not making people make mistakes anymore. His fights against Robert Whittaker were really, his first one was really, both of them. They were really good because he was making Robert Whittaker have to make the mistakes. The first one. I'm gonna go back to my say on that. Anyway, I'll leave that point because it's annoying, I'm sure, but it's frustrating to see a guy who we all know is as good as Adesanya is go out there and fight as if he can't pull a trigger.
Yeah.
And I do think that's why Pereira was able to knock him out in this fight, because he was hurting Pereira throughout the fight. Maybe not a whole lot, but a couple of times I would argue more shots. So. Yeah. And he wasn't really capitalizing on him. And then the second Pereira had him hurt, he capitalized on it.
Yeah, it was frustrating for sure, because like he stung him at the end of the first round, and it was a late shot. That's why Alex wasn't expecting it. He wasn't ready for the shot. He hit him with one shot right before the buzzer. Then right when the buzzer was going off, he hit him again, and that you saw him wobble real bad. And I remember people I was watching it with, I looked at them and said, he's going to lose. He's going to get knocked out. And then everyone was just kind of talking about the fight. And I'm like, no, like, listen, like, he's going to lose this fight. I was like, he's going to get overconfident now. And, you know, after that, he went on to lose the second round. He won the third and fourth, which was, watching them scramble on the ground was just awkward looking. I know it's like, who are you to say that? But it's also like, no, like I'm a spectator. I'm you know.
I think once you've paid to watch these fights, you can say whatever you want, whatever value someone wants to attach to that. It is what it is. But you're allowed to say what you want.
I don't know, man. It just looked uncomfortable. What's it called? Like I don't know. It was just. But it was frustrating to watch. When the only thing that was frustrating for me whenever they were on the ground watching, though, was like towards the end of the exchange on the ground. What's his name? Izzy started started throwing down some ground and pound, and Alex didn't like it. He started to shell up. And it's like, if I saw a fighter doing that, as soon as that next round starts, I'm gonna find a way to get you to the ground, and I'm gonna pound you out.
And that was another thing. That was another thing. You didn't see Adesanya be an MMA fighter very long in that fight. You saw him be a kickboxer, and it's like, obviously you're gonna lose that fight. You've lost it twice already.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you just lost it a third time.
Yeah, it was frustrating to watch, and then whenever he gets hurt by Alex, Izzy even said, I'm not making excuses at all for my loss. Like, he beat me. It is what it is. He's like, but in the first round, he said he hit, Alex calf kicked him, hit him right in the peroneal nerve.
Oh yeah.
He said he caused peroneal nerve in the first round, and he was like, so by that fifth round, like, my leg was going in and out. He's like, and he was able to catch me with it. He did the damage. He was like, not that. He did talk about. I was watching an interview with him this morning after work, and he did say that he's had previous injuries with the leg. He's like, but not to say that. He's like, but. In the fight, though, it wasn't. He's like, it's not that I went there previously injured. He's like, Alex did the damage. Alex is the one who hit my nerve. You know, I'm not trying to make excuses of what I said. You know, and so after that, you know, he catches him with the left hook, the patented left hook. I mean, I don't know. That dude has crazy power. Like, so I'm talking like,
and it didn't put Adesanya out, and that was a very strong, very clean left hook.
Yeah.
So I don't even. It's not even a thing of like. It wasn't not that well landed, perhaps, but it was really clean. I think most people would have been put out by it because Adesanya was already gassed. He was already hurt.
Yeah.
And he stayed standing, kind of.
Yeah. What's it called? So, I don't know where like when I'm watching Adesanya try to weave out away these punches, he's literally weaving into these punches and getting
Yeah.
thrown the other way.
And a lot of people said they thought it was too early of a stoppage, and I was like,
No, he was out on
no,
his
that was
feet.
pretty good. I like
Yeah.
it.
The way his knees were buckled whenever he was getting hit, just as a
Yeah.
big telltale sign
And
of that. You know?
the main comment I saw was, "Oh, this is a championship fight. You got to let the champion go out on a shield." I'm like, no,
Let's not.
he's a human being. You should probably take care of him.
Let's not give him brain damage.
Like, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Oh, you're a champion? That means you need to die to
Yeah.
defend that belt.
No,
No.
completely disagree with that. He was out on his feet. It was a good stoppage. I wish Adesanya would have picked his hands up whenever he was getting rushed like that, or at least shot for a takedown, because he freaking hip tossed Pereira. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see hip tosses a lot in MMA for a reason. You know, they do work. I'm not saying they don't work.
They do
but
work. It's just most guys in this day and age
Yeah, at that level,
are a little
yeah.
experienced in it.
Especially at that level, you know.
So yeah, when you have a guy fighting for the title who doesn't know how to defend it very well, keep doing it.
Yeah, this is MMA, not kickboxing, man. Stop trying
But,
to make a point, you know.
But of course, Adesanya didn't do it. So that was UFC 281.
He said that he did feel it was an early stoppage, but then he watched it over again and talked to his coaches, and they're like, "No,
It makes sense.
His coaches even told him like, "No, it was a good stoppage." He was like, "It's a good thing we stopped. They stopped that fight." But yeah, like you said, UFC 281.
I'm thinking if not card of the year, runner up, because that Santos Hill card was really good
100%
too.
finish rate.
Yeah.
I mean, you also had UFC China was a great card.
Yeah.
That was a very good card. UFC London was a great card as well.
Oh yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the first UFC London was really, really good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of competition for that, but let us know your thoughts. Which fight card do you think won it this year so far, or is it at least ahead of the pack?
December is right around the corner, dude. So we would like y'all's opinions on what y'all's favorite fights were, favorite card of the year. Like
we
Zach
still
said.
got one potential one to beat everything.
So
the Miocic John Jones possibility.
Oh no, that's ruled out.
It is.
Yeah,
well then,
dude,
just
have you heard about Stipe?
no.
He might not be coming back.
And on next time on Devin the Bear.
Tune in next time.